Hello guys, I'm back sa ating channel ulit. Welcome and good evening ulit. Dito pa rin ako. So, guys, tuloy ko lang po yung ating chapter 28 ng Claiming Her Back. Chapter 28. Hirap ako guys eh. Guys, saka pa-matured po ang ating mga contents ha. So, please lang po, respect lang din po tayo guys. Kasi novel po ito, so hindi yun maiiwasan. Chapter 28. We arrived at the venue 10 minutes before the celebration started. It was not that extravagant like those in Hollywood, but to say that it was brilliant was an understatement. David's parents were not the luxurious type. They were the most humble people I had known in my entire life. I started to feel guilty of not being able to communicate to them before I left London. They must have been worried of my sudden disappearance. I stepped outside the limo and we were met by the flashes of the cameras. I was not surprised to see the paparazzi around, knowing that this celebration was for the parents of the famous billionaire model and a businessman. David carried our son on his arms, and I felt proud seeing that he didn't mind getting his glorious suit wrinkled. My baby started crying, probably because of the camera flashes around him. David tried to coo him, but I quickly picked him up to my arms when I saw his tears already streaming down his chubby cheeks. I didn't mind if my dress would be ruined or what. My focus was to my baby, who was silently sobbing on my chest. "Mommy's here, baby," I whispered to him while rocking him slowly. "David." We heard a voice from behind, and we both turned our heads to see his mother and father hurriedly approaching us. I felt nervous. I didn't know what to say. My heart was really to burst any time. I felt so overwhelmed of seeing them again after 2 years. I felt David's hands on my waist and he kissed my head. He must have sensed my nervousness. "Olivia," oh my God. Sandra immediately wrapped his arms around me. I felt like crying. "My daughter, where have you been?" Sandra was crying already. I could not hug her back because my arms were cradling my baby. I didn't notice my tears were flowing already. She kissed both my cheeks and I felt so joyful. "You have a lot of explaining to do, my beautiful sunshine," she chuckled while wiping my tears. David's father, James, hugged me next and kissed my forehead. David was completely ignored. "We miss you so much, my daughter," James said while squeezing me again. "I can't believe you're here. This is the best gift I have ever received." "Thank you, my boy, thank you." This time, Sandra turned to David, who was standing beside me smiling. Her mother tiptoed to hug him, and David was really tall. "Mom," I started to talk, but my baby wiggled, trying to turn around, probably to see who we were talking to. "Oh my, is this our grandson?" Sandra exclaimed. All our attention were focused to my baby, who was hiding his face on my chest. "Hello, my baby boy, I'm your grandma." Sandra was trying to tickle him, but my baby was so shy that he just curled up to me. I saw James' expression and his eyes were teary. Sorry, busog lang. He must have seen the baby version of David to my son. "Baby, meet your grandma and grandpa," I told him sweetly, and he looked up to me, then to David. David nodded to him and chuckled. Our son was probably waiting for his father's approval. My baby was adorably shy all of a sudden. He suddenly flapped his arms and legs excitedly. He usually did this when he was joyful of something. It was the cue. Sandra picked him up carefully and he got so excited. His grandma was surprised when he giggled to her. Sandra chuckled and could not stop kissing his head and his chubby cheeks. James joined them and he looked so fond already to the little man. They were both talking to him and my baby could not stop giggling loud. I silently prayed we could be like this forever. Forever. I was enveloped with two large arms of David while he kept on kissing my head. We already forgot the paparazzi around. This would surely be the headline tomorrow. We were inside the grand hall. I would say all the faces I saw were unfamiliar to me. Well, I was not exposed to David's social life that much, so I didn't recognize them. James was cuddling his grandson. He was spoiling him while my baby was blabbering funny words. The whole event was perfect. Everybody had so much fun in the dance floor. I was just sitting alone admiring the crowd. I saw Sandra holding my baby in her arms while she introduced him to her friends. She looked so delighted and proud while cuddling his grandson to her chest. My baby was also enjoying the attention he was getting. May I have a dance with my beautiful woman? I looked up to see meet the most handsome man extending his hands for me to take. I felt tense, but I didn't know why. I put my hands to his and he pulled me to the dance floor. My cheeks were blushing from the gust of the crowd. They all looked stunned. David led me and we swayed along the music. I closed my eyes and leaned my head to his chest while feeling his hands brushing my back. It's late in the evening. She's wondering what clothes to wear. She puts on her makeup and brushes her long blonde hair, and then she asked me, "Do I look alright?" And I say, "Yes, you look wonderful tonight." We go to a party and everyone turns to see this beautiful lady that's walking around with me, and then she asked me, "Do I look alright?" And I say, "Yes, you look wonderful tonight." I feel wonderful because I see the love lights in your eyes, and the wonder of it all is that you just don't realize how much I love you. Awit yun siya, guys. While the music was playing, I caught him staring at me. His blue eyes was shining and I felt love. All of a sudden, I found myself responding to his kisses. Then, we were about to leave when David got a phone call and excused himself. It had been 10 minutes since he left and I was feeling anxious already. My feet were itching and my baby had been gone to sleep in my arms already. I decided to just calm down and wait for David in the car. Three of his men were following me while I rode the elevator down. I was feeling uneasy. I felt so tired and all I wanted was massage, especially to my sore feet. As I was heading outside the hotel, I caught David getting cozy with young brunette while having coffee. My vision turned dark. His back was facing me, but I knew he was the man. The woman was very much enjoying their conversation. Damn you, David. While you're having a good time there, I am here almost falling off from my sore, tired heels. I continued walking as if nothing happened. I entered the car and the bodyguards followed inside. "Please drive now," I spoke calmly. "Ma'am, do we need to wait for Mr. Miller?" one of the guards asked. "No, let's go." It was a command. I felt so burned out. I wanted to be alone, not in this car with full of bodyguards. If only I wore my comfortable shoes, I would have been walking and wandering around the city already. We were back in the penthouse. Before I got out of the car, I removed the shoes I was wearing and adjusted my baby to my chest carefully, not wanting to wake him up. Nagmamadali ako, no? I woke, I walked barefoot. It was much better than to continue the agony of walking with aching soles. After changing his clothes, um, I gently put him in the crib when I noticed my tears falling. Don't cry, Olivia. I got changed and cleaned my face quickly. I found an extra blanket in the cabinet and then took the couch inside my baby's room. I intentionally locked the door so he could not get in. As I was watching my baby sleeping, I was also drifting myself off to sleep. Um, Putulin ko na naman siya guys kasi masyadong mahaba pero pwede rin. Tuloy ko siya guys sa chapter 29, David's point of view. The spotlight illuminated the stage and the audience were all focusing on me. I noticed their flirtatious. Chapter 29 ito siya guys ha, yung David's point of view. Wait lang, sana ako. The spotlight illuminated the stage and the audience were all focusing on me. I noticed their flirtatious glances, including the female host adjacent to me. I was never timid to this type of situation, but this one made me nervous like hell. I had been interviewed and featured countless times from different parts of the world as the most successful and highest paid male model and a businessman, and that made my life so exposed. People wanted to know everything about me, from the clothes I was wearing to the type of toothpaste I was using. They seemed to know a lot of me, but there was one thing they were not aware of, that I was married once. No, I'm still married. She was my limelight. She was the reason I could not wait to get home. She had been my everything. I just realized it when she disappeared from my life already. You never know who you are until you lose something. I was stupid. I made a mistake. How could I do that to her? My wife, my own wife, the woman who valued and trusted me with everything in her. I was sitting on the couch in front of the cameras and the crowd. I felt the total tension inside me. She must had been watching me. You have been selected to judge for this year's Miss Universe. But aside from that purpose, what are the other things that you plan to do while staying in the country? The female host asked me. My woman is here, I answered without hesitation. Sorry. All of the people inside the room gasped in surprise. I'm here for you, baby. Does she know you're here for her? No, I replied. No, she doesn't. So you're gonna surprise her then. Are we going to hear a wedding bell soon? I smiled. She's already my wife. We haven't heard this before. Wow. Would you mind to tell us how long you've been married? It's been almost 2 years now. I chuckled upon seeing the shocked crowd. I earned whoops of delight from them. Wow, this is such a blast. Ladies and gentlemen, the sexiest and most stylish male model and businessman on earth is already taken, so back off. I never saw it coming from the female host herself. I suppressed a laugh. She continued to ask me questions related to my business and my career as a model. The interview was finished in exactly 30 minutes and I left immediately for my next photo shoot. I came here not because of the pageant but all because of my wife, Olivia Miller, my Olivia. My private investigator told me that she returned to her homeland after leaving London. At least it was where she went based on the travel records of the airline. Accepting the task to the judge to be a judge of a pageant was just my sideline. I had to know the places around this country. I had to impress her. I sound like a stalker now. I didn't want to just show up in her doorstep and shock her. Scaring her away was the last thing I would do. Here I come, baby. I will never let you go. Never again. When I arrived at their university, I was welcomed by the giggles and gasps from the students. I met Mr. Patrick, the university dean. He introduced me to the fellow teacher and associates. Honestly, I felt so flattered of the attention I was getting from them. Whenever we shook hands, it seems like they didn't want to let my hands go. I was always the one pulling away. I just laughed inwardly. Not that I was assuming, but the women were obviously flirting with me. I got a lot of this, but it was sometimes creepy. I stood up, scanning my eyes around the room. Where is she? I want her. Where is she? And this is our little literature teacher, Miss Olivia Gray. I heard Dean Patrick spoke. I turned around to see the woman who had been hunting my night dreams and my daydreams. She didn't notice me yet. She was busy balancing her bag and the books from falling. I followed her with my eyes. When she looked up, complete shock was written on her face. She stumbled back and her books fell. I quickly strode towards her and helped her. She didn't look at me. I knew she was pretending she didn't know me. When our hands brushed, I could feel her burning and tense. I was the only man who could make her shiver like this. She seemed uneasy. I knew she could not resist me, and I knew it was bad, but I enjoyed seeing her so flustered. Okay, wait lang guys. She looked so sexy and beautiful in her white casual dress. I clenched my fist and signed heavily. I was having a hard time controlling myself and was raging testosterones. Ano ba yan? I wanted to ravish her right then and there. Grabe siya. I was watching her. She looked uncomfortable. She was intentionally looking away. She knew I could make her organ sorry guys, with just my stares. Her phone suddenly rang, so she quickly excused herself out of the office. I'm gonna get you back again, baby. My guts were kicking me. I wanted to run after her. Becoming... Wait lang talaga. A benefactor of the university was still part of my plan. I had to be close to her. Since this was the place she always went to, I had to gain all access inside the university so I could follow and check her every day. I sounded like a stalker, but I don't care. I got back to the hotel where I was staying. I removed my cuff and my tie and sat down on the large couch. I was recalling our encounter few hours ago. I finally found her. She looked thinner than before. Olivia was the type of woman who didn't care if she was fat or thin. As long as she didn't skip meals, that was one of the things I loved about her. She always loved my cooking. She was far different from the woman I dated before. They would always choose salad on the menu and love to go to the fancy restaurants. But my Olivia would rather eat their street foods and lots of carbs. She was never fond of gym and workout. She was not getting fat anyway. I never let her out of my sight. I would sometimes drag her with me to the gym inside my penthouse early in the morning, but it always ended up me sweating profusely while she slept on the couch. Then I had to carry her back to the room again. I had read in some magazines that sex was the best exercise, so I always made sure that she got workouts every day. I always made love to her like every day. I loved how she became a woman, wanton in bed. I became an insatiable man since I met my Olivia. I could not get enough of her. I always craved for her. Even at late nights when I got home drained and tired, she would always wait for me and gave me an earth-shattering I remember the first time when she initiated that I would teach her how to do a her cheeks were so red that she hid at the crook of my neck for almost an hour because she became so shy after. She swallowed it down her throat and I was like, hell yeah. I was extremely happy when I found out I was her first. That first night during our honeymoon, I made love to her many times until dawn and taught her different position while she was willingly submitting herself to me. I already memorized every of her body and I always loved hearing her screaming my name when and when I ate I had just started. I needed to find a way to get closer to her heart. Okay. The next day, I got up early and prepared myself to visit my wife. The investigator had emailed me her address, and that was where I was heading to. I knocked several times on the door, but there was still no answer. I waited patiently. I must have got the wrong address. I was about to leave when the door finally opened, revealing the most beautiful woman who was only wearing her nighties and a silk pink robe. My woman. I knew she had no bra underneath the lacy materials. I was in awe. I swallowed hard, instantly became hard down there. Wow. I looked down on her chest and her nipples were visible. Those are mine only. What are doing here? What I can help you with? She asked again, her eyebrows frowned. There were no words coming out from my mouth. Get a grip, David. She was the one and only woman who could make me fall on my feet. I wanted to devour her right there and then, but I didn't want to scare her. I noticed her moving back inside and I blocked the door with my foot before she could shut it down to my face. She looked so nervous. Well, I am too. If she slapped me, I would accept it. I deserve it. I invited myself in. I knew it would anger her more. This is trespassing. Please see yourself out or I'm calling the guards now. I could feel the heat of the invisible smoke coming out from her pretty ears and nose. So this is where you're hiding? I asked. I'm not hiding from anyone, she quickly responded. If you have no business here anymore, please get out. But instead of going out, I made my way to the couch and sat. Aren't you going to ask me for some coffee? You wish, she blurted and raised her eyebrows. Right on cue, a man entered. He looked like the male version of Olivia, except his charcoal black hair while Livy has light brown hair. Who is he, Livy? The man asked. He is, David, a friend. I stood up. Hi, I'm David Miller. You must be Olivia, brother Franz. I am. He smiled while returning a handshake. Her brother left quickly to take a bath. I think you're overstaying already. Please make sure to lock the door when you get out. She really sounded so pissed. Why can't you say my name? She was walking out but instantly stopped. Why can't you speak my name? I asked again. I still remember how you used to shout it when I pleasure you and make you stop. He turned around. I saw the tears brimming in her eyes. It made me soften. Don't cry, baby. I don't want you to cry. We're done, she said straight to my eyes. She walked to the front door and that was my cue. Before I stepped out, I leaned to her and kissed her neck. She whimpered. I will come and claim you back. I vow. Ay, nako guys, mukhang malolobat na ako, kaya thank you. Marami pa pong mangyayari, no? Kaya maririnig nyo pa po yung mga point of view ni David. So, abangan nyo po guys, kasi pero marami pong matured content. So, tingnan natin. Pasensya na. And, thank you ulit. Subscribe. And, alam nyo na po, click the bell. And, message lang din po pala kayo. Alam nyo na po. I-link ko na lang po yung aking Facebook Messenger. Ganun po. Para mag-message po kayo. And, yung mga titles po, tinitingnan ko po muna. Yung iba mahaba po kasi masyadong matagalan po ang pag-upload ko nun. Pero, try ko po yung best ko. Thank you. Bye and good night everyone.